I'm a person that believes in statistics. I'm a person that loves analysis. I'm a person that likes facts. I like charts. I've told you guys before, in my professional life, that's what I do. That's what I find happiness in. And it just makes dealing with all of this dumb shit in this country right now that much fucking harder. And just recently, the right has been spreading the lie that you are more likely to be killed by a transgender person than anybody else in the country, which of course we all know is fucking nuts, but it works. They put out this and then you just hear the people fucking regurgitate the information. So I recently found a channel, a really cool channel, actually. It's a small channel, Edgier than thou. They have 9.46K subscribers. So you guys should go and subscribe while you can. I love me some spreadsheets. Okay, I do love me some spreadsheets. There's the channel in the chat right there. You should definitely subscribe to this. And if you don't think you should, you will after this. So this is actually going to be a two-part video because there was a follow-up to some of the information in this video. So we're going to listen to it a little bit of a faster speed here. Oh, 1.25. 1.5. We'll see how bad that is. We're going to watch this, and then we're going to watch the follow-up video containing the statistical analysis.
Will contain some math. Apologies in advance. Hey, folks, every once in a while, I think it's worth revisiting the fact that right-wing media is primarily based in lies. And when I say lies, I don't mean the sorts of little fibs that all media participate in, exaggerations here and there, misrepresenting data to suit a narrative, that sort of thing. All of that is bad, of course, and it's why I'd never take headlines at face value, but the right-wing propaganda machine is a different beast entirely. Rather than simply bending existing truths to suggest a favorable perspective, Republicans will just straight up make things up out of whole cloth.
You like how this is the left for you, too. This is how we do things. We always start by qualifying that we understand that left-wing media also lies. Like, that's something the right will never do, right? The left will start off discussing incorrect information on TV by saying, we understand that left-wing media also lies, but the right wing does this just much worse. Like, you'll never get that from a conservative point of view.
Reality rarely comports with the beliefs that Donald Trump, Rupert Murdoch, the Koch brothers, or say Matt Walsh want you to hold. So rather than adjust their statements to agree with reality, they'll just invent a new one. We saw this last year when right-wingers went all in on an obvious migrants are eating pets hoax, which J.D. Vance later admitted to exaggerating for attention while repeatedly acknowledging that his only evidence was that he heard it somewhere.
If I have to create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do, Dana, because you guys are completely letting Kamala Harris coast.
You just said that this is a story that you created. So the eating dogs and cats thing is not.
Dana, it comes from firsthand accounts from my constituents.
And now we're seeing it.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets.
Yep.
Again, with the runner-up for the American right's favorite boogeyman, trans people, in the form of a variety of right-wing memes, all of which eschew truth in favor of a good narrative. Semi-famously, I suppose you could say, in early 2024, this meme was circulated by fascist accounts like Kaya Rychik of Libs of TikTok fame, despite being completely inaccurate in at least two ways. Not the least of which being that the fifth image in this meme is of a completely different person to the decidedly cisgender shooter.
And this is the kind of shit that literally my own family members will share with me. Oh my God! Oh, fuck me running. It's just the dumbest timeline. It is. It's the dumbest timeline.
And the Colorado...
Not even the right fucking person.
Springs shooter specifically targeted LGBT people and transparently identified as non-binary after the fact as a half-baked trolling attempt. Regardless of...
So that's what I was saying earlier, too, about the Tim Walz thing. How the guy claimed that actually the person who killed the Hortmans was left-wing because he had left a letter saying that Tim Walz had instructed him to do so. It's like these people can't wrap their mind around, or they're just dishonest. Most likely they're just dishonest, and I'm giving them too much credit, to the fact that a person that goes to a gay nightclub and attacks people, and what did he shoot? Something like 40 people, right? It was a lot of people. 17 people, 20 people, I can't remember. It was a lot of people. I guess it was probably said it right there, huh?
Image in this meme is of a completely different person to the decidedly cisgender shooter. Other than this, the Colorado Springs shooter specifically targeted LGBT people and transparently identified...
Oh, this is Colorado Springs. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So this is the guy who said use gay and racial slurs while gaming online. That's the attempt at this, right? Was that they had left they asked their lawyer to say that their pronouns were different. They're doing it as a troll. They're doing it to piss people off. Yeah, it was the gay nightclub in Colorado Springs.
As non-binary after the fact is a half-baked trolling attempt. Regardless of these itty-bitty, blatant factual errors / misrepresentations, the narrative is quite clear. To American conservatives, there is an epidemic of violence committed by transgender people across the country that can only be stopped by extreme anti-trans prejudice. And yes, of course, I see the irony of claiming there's an epidemic of transgender violence while having to pad a 5-item list. A similar meme pulls stunts like using a photo of non-mass shooter / MMA fighter Alana.
Yeah, the bottom right is an MMA fighter. It's a MMA fighter, dude. Oh my god.
McLaughlin, I hope that's how that's pronounced, is one of the shooters, but trust me, if we covered those, we'd be here all day. Incidentally, upon being confronted with the factual failings of her shitty meme, Rychek defended her refusal to delete or correct her mistake.
I guess, speaking of deleting posts, you still have a post up accusing the Uvalde shooter of being trans. Obviously, that's been debunked.
Yeah, there's a community note on it.
So why not remove that post if you're so...
Well, and here's the thing, too. Like, this is just the beginning. Like this is just one thing. You're just pointing out one thing that Kaya Raychek has done. Like, this isn't even... this is barely this is like getting a drop out of the pool of all of the violent rhetoric that Kaya Raychik has put out against other people in this country. Like, she has literally had people doxxed, literally gotten hospitals bomb threats by posting shit that leads to violent actions. This is just a fucking drop in the ocean.
So why not remove that post if you're so comfortable with removing posts?
Because there's a community note. I think it's clear. It was obviously unintentional.
It's got a community note, guys. So it's cool.
There was a watermark on it. It was from a meme, an account that was going around. And I'm glad there's a community note so people know that.
Do you believe if, say, a journalist posts...
These people are so full of shit. When they have to see you face to face, they're so full of shit.
Something factually incorrect or wrong, especially about someone else. If somebody was to say something factually wrong about you, do you believe they should remove that, or do you think they should be able to keep that content up?
Twitter is free speech. People lie about me all the time on there, and they don't get taken down. If you want, it has to go both ways.
Let me tell you, I have my disagreements with Taylor Lorenz, but the actual inhuman level of restraint she shows in this interview is beyond impressive. The full thing is, of course, linked below alongside related sources and the like. But as you can see from the fact that my skull is still intact, I didn't come here to talk to you about libs of TikTok. I came to talk to you about a graph. Now, I love graphs myself. I like reading them,
Hey, me too.
Thinking about them, making them. Hell, a few years back, I'm reading this, but I actually did do this. I tabulated the FBI's violent crime data because they didn't have an effective tool for comparing different states together. So you can imagine my concern when these graphs started circulating in late August of this year. I have consistently opposed the false claim.
So you can see that they're trying to say that public incidents with 4 or more fatalities expressed as rates per million per population, where that you had trans-binary biological males at 0.76, trans non-binary biological females at 0.66, and then they go on to say Asian men, black men, white men, Asian women, and Hispanic men, right? And then they've got this in another form of a graph over on this side talking about the same thing, right? Public incidences, yeah.
That trans people are doing a disproportionate amount of...
By the way, in wokeness, that's Jack Posobiec.
Violence, yet here is not just one, but 2 collections of hard numbers proving my previous evidence-based beliefs about the world incorrect. The first thing I did in response to this is what I always do. Check for a source. But curiously, one wasn't linked or named on either image.
And so there is a source, and this person does find the source later and goes over the source after they did this video.
Which is standard practice when using data to make and perhaps the political connections or resources to figure out where these graphs came from. It'd be them, right? With that, let's take a look at episode 1649 of Matt Walsh's show, which covers the so-called trans terrorism epidemic. Fun fact, if you watch all 1600 episodes, you die in real life.
Oh, he's not wrong. They're not wrong. They're not wrong.
Before he gets to the data, though, let's let Matthew give us some enlightening anecdotes.
In 2018, Snokia Mosley, a identified transgender individual killed several people at a Rite Aid distribution facility in Maryland. Authorities said Mosley had, quote, been beset for years by mental illness as well as emotional turmoil related to her struggle with sexual identity. Her struggle. In 2019, a self-identified...
Matt Walsh sure does talk a lot of shit for a dude that looks like he's got no chin at all.
transgender boy...
What's that
named
info?
Alec McKinney masterminded a school shooting that left one student dead and several more injured. McKinney said that she wanted to kill her classmates because they didn't respect her gender identity. In 2022, Anderson Lee Aldrich shot up a nightclub, killing 5 people and injuring 26. His lawyer said in court that he was non-binary, used they/them pronouns, preferred to be...
That's the one. Like, it's a killer, a murderer, a person. I guess it was 5 people. My bad. I said 40 people. I was way off. Maybe it's that many people were injured. Like, it's just mind-boggling that these people are like, yeah, like, they're going to be upstanding, honest people after they murdered a bunch of people. That makes lots of sense. I literally actually just watched a video of the Charlie Kirk, alleged Charlie Kirk killer. That it was like a car accident or something. And the comments in the video underneath was, this guy is a piece of shit. They should have known it the whole time. What is their reasoning for why you should have known that this person was a piece of shit the whole time? Was because the kid lied about running a red light. That's the first instance that people believe should lead you to think that a person is going to shoot somebody, is that they ran a red light and lied about it. This world doesn't make any fucking sense.
Be addressed as Mix MX Aldrich. In 2023, 40-year-old Kim Brady Carricker killed 5 people and injured 2 children when he opened fire in a Philadelphia neighborhood. Authorities denied that the man was transgender, even though he posted numerous photos online in which he's wearing women's clothing. The same year, as we all remember,
Matt Walsh doesn't know about, like, Oscar de la Hoya. Like, Matt Walsh is like, if you've ever worn a dress in your life, you are transgender. Like, I remember when I was a kid, there was a whole fucking thing. Like, every Halloween, dudes would dress up as girls. Like, it's so insane to me. Matt Walsh has some shit on his hard drive. 100%. It's coming out one day. Matt Walsh has got some shit on his hard drive.
A trans-identifying mass shooter killed 3 9-year-old children and 3 adults at Covenant Christian School in Tennessee.
I leave this in here because, with the exception of one anecdote in which the shooter wore women's clothes a few times, every one of those examples was from the fucking Libs of TikTok meme, including the shooter who targeted an LGBT nightclub and then pretended to be non-binary after.
But that's literally how these people argue, though. They just send you memes. They don't want to talk about anything. They don't want to have, like, legit conversation about it. They just want to send you Of course he got all his information from the meme.
Afterwards, targeted a nightclub.
Shot up a nightclub.
No need to remind your viewers that the victims were primarily queer people, of course. What this means is, either in lieu of research, Matt just copied a conservative meme, or perhaps there's a vanishingly small number of trans shooters, so he literally just has to pull from the same list to make his point.
Yeah, like, how fucking nuts is that? How nuts is that? Like, this is what I'm saying. When we start talking about statistical analysis, this is what makes me the most fucking angry. I mean, obviously, going after people that didn't do a goddamn thing for no fucking reason at all makes me really fucking mad. But the fact that you're literally talking about so few alleged shooters, most of them nothing to do with actually the topic you're talking about, but even if they all were, even if every one of them legit was a trans mass shooter, you could fit them all on one meme. You could fit them all with visible thumbnails on one meme. Try doing that with the number of white male mass shooters. And this is my thing about this whole thing. This is how stupid this is. The inevitable conclusion that you would come to if you said transgender people are shooting up schools all over the place, man. It's crazy. There's so many of them, right? If you were to say that, the inevitable conclusion would be, well, since there are so many more white cis males, heterosexual white cis males doing this, then what do we do to both the trans people and the white males? Like, do no white men get guns then? No white men get guns? Because I don't think you guys are going to be happy about the outcome of this statistical analysis. If the analysis that you are making is that these 5 transgender people that you claim were transgender, you can't even say that they are. In fact, some of you are saying a non-binary, that those people don't deserve to have guns because statistically speaking, there's a good chance that they're going to commit a mass shooting. Then the logical conclusion is that no white man should have a gun. That's fucking crazy. They don't even. I don't know. I just can't. I can't. It's stupid. It's
provides
stupid.
Another single anecdote in which a trans person killed their parents, which is generally murder, not terrorism, and then gets into the more important point.
All of these stories made the news to varying degrees because they were too high profile, too dramatic, too horrifying to ignore. The media can successfully.
Yeah, guys, they're gonna totally hide the gay nightclub shooting. Because why? Because the media, guys, the media has a transgender bias. The fucking media. Like, if a transgender person walks outside, trips, and throws their fucking drink on somebody, that shit's on the news. Transgender person assaults citizenry. It's because of the hormone blockers. Like, fucking... What do you mean, dude?
Bury a story about a few girls getting stabbed in a movie theater, but it's harder to explain away a large number of fatalities. And that's why this graph, which was posted yesterday by one of the big data accounts on X, is worth taking a look at. As you can see, it shows mass shooting rates by demographic from 2015 to 2025. It looks at public incidents with 4 or more fatalities, and it accounts for the percentage of the population that belongs to each demographic group. So it's a per capita.
Just think about that for like 2 seconds. Do you walk outside and look around to make sure there's no transgender people? I mean, I know conservatives do. I get that. I understand that there's a lot of transvestigation going on out there, right? Like, you don't leave your home. Like if you talk about like impoverished people, poor people, right? Like where I come from. Like, you're generally talking about, Hispanics. You're talking about African Americans or black people. You're talking about poor white people. You step outside and you look around in the ghetto, you're usually like looking for one of us. You're not looking for a transgender person. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. Like, never, when I was younger, did I ever step outside of my house, make sure nobody was around so that way I didn't get fucking carjacked or robbed, and then go about my business looking for a transgender person. I was never like, gotta make sure there's no transgenders. Now, if there was a couple dudes hanging on the corner with blue rags, I was like, oh, that's Pookie. Little Batman. Fucking leprechaun. I was like, that motherfucker might steal my shit, rob me. Okay, I wasn't ever looking for a transgender person.
Reading, essentially. Now, at the very top of that list, as you'll see, you find men who identify as transgender women or non-binary. They're followed by women who identify as men or non-binary. After that, there's Asian men, includes Arabs, black men, white men, Asian women, and Hispanic men rounding out the list. In other words, when you look at per capita statistics, transgender identifying individuals are the...
I like that they lumped the Asians and the Arabs. I mean, I guess that makes sense. But still, Asian people everywhere are like, hey, what the fuck? Actually, has a Mexican accent. Like, do Asian people even commit crime? I don't think they do.
The single most likely demographic group in the entire country to commit deadly mass shootings that cause 4 or more fatalities. Now, you can quibble with the numbers if you want, but this is a finding that, if we're being honest, everyone can intuitively understand. It's not surprising.
Well, that's embarrassing. No sources there either. Instead, we're directed to listen to our feelings. If you're a right-wing lunatic, it makes intuitive sense that trans people would be evil monsters. So, of course, these numbers track to you. But I absolutely must draw attention to the statement, you can quibble with the numbers. I know I've been playing coy with this for a little while now, but at the risk of spoiling the rest of this video, these numbers are not even close to correct. Trans people are generally underrepresented in mass shooting statistics. So, yes, Matt, I will quibble with the numbers, because the numbers are utter fucking nonsense. So, okay, no source given in the video, not even the Twitter account that they pulled the image from.
So we're gonna we're gonna jump ahead to the end of this or to this one right here, and then we're gonna play the video where this content creator talks about the source, because you guys are gonna love what the source is once this person finds the source.
Prove that it's fake because there's
It's
no
fucking
source,
insane.
But I can 100% prove that this graph is fake. And to do so, let's take a look at the demographics that the blue graph reports.
This shit is
Trans,
amazing.
Asian, black, white, and Hispanic. Of those categories, it reports male and female numbers for trans people and Asian people. The other three categories only report male numbers. Now, looking at this yellow graph, we can see it reports all the same demographics plus one more, this time as a measure of the entire population rather than dividing it by gender. And that's how I noticed that this statistic for all trans people was a little suspicious. See, when I take the average of trans men and trans women from the blue graph, I get the exact number on the yellow graph. Similarly, when I take the average of Asian men and Asian women, I get the exact yellow graph number. What this would imply, if it were true, is that there's an almost exactly equal proportion of trans men to trans women and Asian men to Asian women in America. I know we already know that isn't true, but just to cover our bases, according to the last census, there are nearly 1 million more Asian women and girls in the US compared to Asian men and boys, a gap which widens when looking at adults only.
The best part about all this is that no MAGA Republican will ever understand what this person is saying. I mean, I guess it's not the best part. I'm saying that sarcastically, right? Is at no point, like, this is just too many words. Like, you need to get this down into 3 short grunts for these people. And I know that this person is not making this argument to MAGA Republicans. They're making this argument to anybody on the left that might fall for the right's bullshit, right? Like, you can't just... That's not how statistical analysis works. You don't just go, this divided by this equals this. Like, it's a completely separate set of statistics.
The numbers are a fair bit closer when it comes to trans men and trans women, but I think I proved my point. Whoever made this yellow graph just took...
Because no MAGA Republican is ever going to look up whether or not this information is true. It just... It's their bias is that it is true, therefore it is true.
Numbers from the blue one, added them together, and divided by 2. But if you still don't believe me, why don't you ask yourself how they got the data for the entire population of white, black, and Hispanic people when the blue graph only gives data for men in those categories? I swear to God, I'm not joking when I tell you this. They just divided each of the blue graph's numbers in half. I cannot...
I love the poorly educated.
It's that fucking easy for them, guys. It is weird to live in a world where I feel like I have to, like, show my work, right? Like I said earlier, I said, you know, the thing is that, like, right-wing people can say whatever they want and it'll just be regurgitated. Trump can say whatever he wants. He can lie. He can make up shit. He can create a false reality. And he knows that people will regurgitate it. But on the left, you actually have to, like, show your work. Because the right will attack you, but also the left will attack you. So if you're on the left, you know that there are other intelligent people that are looking at what you're putting out because they want it to be correct. They don't want to face any criticism by some kind of proxy of being in the same political party as somebody that gets it wrong. So the left often will attack the left when they're incorrect about something. So when you're on the left, you have to literally write like 2 paragraphs to explain something that Donald Trump can just boil down to 3 fucking words. It's fucking insane.
Enough how insane this is. The person who made this yellow graph made the statistical assumption that women in these categories make up exactly half of the population and committed 0 mass shootings in this 10-year period. Except Asian women, I guess. I told you I liked graphs. So here's what I think may have happened. Someone, probably Jack Posobiec, because the earliest instance of the yellow graph I could find was from the End Wokeness account on Twitter, or, you know, possibly some 4chan user or something of the sort, saw the blue graph circulating and thought that it'd be really useful if conservatives had multiple different sets of numbers to point to that all more or less said the same thing. But being a conservative and therefore not great with statistics, he fumbled his way through restructuring the data in a way that looked just different enough while maintaining the exact same trends as the original chart. And then he threw in Native Americans just to make it look like a different set of data. I definitely can't prove that's how this came about. It's possible both charts were just made by the same person. They do have the same title and subheading, but either way, the latter graph is nothing but a shitty knockoff of the original, already fake graph. And that could be the end of the video right there. Right-wing accounts and organizations mobilized around completely fake data with reckless disregard for the truth. Not one major voice I can find had the wherewithal to ask for a source or even a lick of evidence, because none of them care about truth, honesty, or anything even resembling compassion. But it's not enough to say that the right is bad. We all know that. What I don't want is someone walking away from this video thinking, wow.
Yeah, Cheyenne, I'm gonna get that clip. My wife told me to do that too.
Everyone involved in political discourse is just a lying liar with no regard for the truth. So just to drive the stake further, let's take a moment to talk about how the left is better. See, the left has its own version of these graphs with 3 notable differences. 1, they don't disguise themselves as figures from a peer-reviewed research paper. 2, they're open about their origins. And 3, they cite their fucking source. This is that graph.
Like I said.
Updated version of this graph, which is slightly more popular.
Dude, look at that. Look at that! Oh, fucking A.
White males way up. White males have gone through the roof. White males way up.
And this is the thing. You don't have to believe this, because like this person said, you don't have to look at this chart and say to yourself, that is true. You should go and you should look at the source for this. You should look at the study. You should look at the way in which it was done. You should find meta-analysis to cover whether or not there's other studies that have tried to refute these statistics. Like, that is 100% what you should do. But the problem is what I just said, is that the left oftentimes does these things in a very thorough manner because of the fact that they know that so many left-wing people will get criticized by right-wing people for using statistics. So anytime somebody on the left puts out bullshit information that can't be backed up with real actual facts, they take a lot of shit from inside their own party. So I guarantee you, you go down this rabbit hole, you're going to walk away probably even more convinced than just seeing this graph, because they're going to show their work. Something that here in a second, when we get to the second video, you guys are going to find the right, they don't really do research. They just find things that they like, and then they're like, yeah, that's good.
Because of how time works. Both of them convey the same basic message.
Damn right, Cheyenne.
This graph was put together by left-wing YouTuber / Substack writer / other things soaked done left using data from the Gun Violence Archive. The updated 2024 article is linked below. Incidentally, SDL uses some of the same data I'm going to be mentioning in a moment here, but there's still useful stuff in there. As I noted, these numbers originated from data collected by the Gun Violence Archive, a nonprofit, non-advocacy group with the goal of reporting data for all incidents of gun violence in the US. The GVA's executive director told Reuters in 2023 that their data estimated trans people made up about 0.11% of mass shooters. That's just over 0.1%.
How does that even need to be a study, though? How does fact-check majority of US mass shooters are cis men, not transgender or non-binary people? You don't need a fucking study. We all know this because we see the fucking stories. And I've even said it. I think that this needs to get away from this whole idea that it's, was the person cis white? Was the person black? Was the person heterosexual? Were they gay? We need to talk about mental health, because mental health affects all people. We need to talk about the fact that people are doing this in the first fucking place. This kind of just takes us away from the central point, and the central point is that children are not safe going to school, and that there are other kids that are emotionally fucking broken, and that they're harming other children. Like, that's what we should be talking about. And even when the left comes out and wants to know the age, know the gender, know the ethnicity of the shooter, I tell them, I criticize them as well, that that's not what's important. What's important is mental health. If we could get better mental health for everybody, if we could get better gun laws, red flag laws, better criminal background laws, guns being taken away from domestic violence offenders, if we could do that, that makes a difference. Talking about, like this person's obviously making this point for this video, which is very important. And like I said, it should not even be a question, because we all have eyes and ears, and we have seen these reports forever be about young white men, heterosexual, young white cisgender men. But that's not, we're missing a point here that should be made if we don't make this point. And that is, this is a problem with access to guns and mental health issues in this country. That is the problem, and that's what we need to be able to get to and talk about.
data estimated trans people made up about 0.11% of mass shooters. That's just over 0.1%. This is despite trans people making up around 0.8% of the population, just under 1%. Similarly, in August of 2025, in response to the blue and yellow graphs we debunked earlier, he told Lead Stories, quote, "I have no clue where their numbers come from, but they are painfully inaccurate across the board." The point here is clear. Trans people are noticeably underrepresented in mass shooter stats, but I'm not satisfied with the point being clear. Let's go harder. A 2023 Secret Service report found that of 180 shooters between 2016 and 2023, only 3 were transgender, making up less than 2% of the population they studied. Incidentally, all of the attackers noted by this report were trans men, despite the majority of the fear-mongering we see directed at trans women. What this means in practice is that trans men, like cis men, are noticeably overrepresented in the Secret Service stats, while trans women, like cis women, are...
Turns out if you transition into a young white male, you also... I am sorry.
Underrepresented, leading me to seriously reconsider if I were in the woods whether I'd rather run into a trans man or a bear. The Violence Project surveyed 197 shootings and found 1 to be perpetrated by a trans person.
I'm glad they made a joke right after I made a joke. I was like, fuck!
Granting a 0.51% share of the shootings to trans people. So, based on the data and taking sample size into account, trans people make up anywhere from 0.11 to 1.67% of mass shootings, with available evidence very heavily suggesting that trans folks are near the bottom of that range. Meanwhile, of course, the ADL, an organization which will bend over backwards to defend right-wingers using fascist symbology while relentlessly attacking progressive students protesting genocide, still reports that right-wing extremism makes up 75% of all extremist shootings, and that's leaving Islamism, another conservative ideology, out. All I'm saying here is that even the people who despise...
Yeah, I love when people don't take into account the fact that, like, an extremist, like an actual extremist Islamic point of view is very fucking conservative. It's very anti-women's rights. It's very fucking anti-LGBT. It drives me up the fucking wall that, like, we don't talk about how fucking... how close together those things are. Like, when they're like, we don't want Sharia law, it's like, no, actually, y'all do. Fuck you mean? I'm the one who doesn't want Sharia law. Y'all the motherfuckers that were happy that women couldn't get bank accounts and credit cards. You're the ones that say women shouldn't be able to vote. Fuck you mean you don't want Sharia law? Yes, you fucking do. All right, so I want to show this because this, like, actually, I watched these backwards, and this shit actually, like, cracked me up. Because I watched this video first and then went back and watched the other one. So we want to get to the part where this person starts talking about the actual stuff. Because first, the first part of the video is them saying, like, yo, like, I wanted to say I found the source. I can't believe I couldn't find the source, but I did find the source. So let's watch them talk about this real quick.
Out to me, and I'm very much grateful to them. I'm issuing a correction now, but a commenter pointed this out to me.
Oh, thank you for the 5 memberships.
I'm very much grateful to them. If you need any context behind the graphs, still just go back and watch that original video. Like I said, the majority of it is correct, but I'm assuming that you have the context now. So allow me to present to you the creator of the stupid anti-trans graphs. Frank McCormick is an ex-teacher who exposed woke schools.
Dude, if somebody has that in their fucking... Dude... Read the rest. Fearless, funny, uncancelable. Oh my god, this fucking country is so cringe. It's just like we have become so fucking cringe, dude. Oh my god.
And he decided that it would be worthwhile to have real, hard data showing that trans people suck and are violent and are scary and spooky and all of the other adjectives that you might want to add to them. Now, initially, when I saw this tweet thread, I was a little bit worried because there's a bunch of sources down there and it was going to take me a ton of work to parse through all of the information that he parsed through to make those graphs.
Right? You see that right there and you're like, okay, actually, all right, those are some sources. You got a lot of sources. All right, we could probably, like, this might actually, you're like, okay, there might be some truth here.
And it was going to be annoying, and I felt, an obligation to make a follow-up. It was going to be a bunch of work and really, really annoying. It just turns out I actually don't.
Jay, how about an Islamic country sinker named Sharia Twain? Oh, this is the only reason I still have subscribers. It's because your guys' sense of humor is just as bad as mine. It's the only reason I still have subscribers.
Don't have to do that. The reason I say this is because Mr. McCormick tells us exactly how he got these numbers. So just as a refresher, according to McCormick's graph, 0.769 per million trans women / and this isn't my favorite term by any stretch, AMAB, non-binary people commit mass shootings with 4+ fatalities. Now I'm going to ask you, based off of this graph, based off of the numbers that we're presented with, how many mass shooters is he basing that number off of? Now, you must assume it has to be, I mean, it has to be a large number, right, in order to get this massive of a population statistic. So I'll narrow it down a little bit. It's less than 10. Okay. But I'll narrow it down a little bit further than that. It's less than 5. And I'm going to be honest with you. Looking at these numbers, looking at the fact that he specifically says trans / non-binary, you would assume it has to at least be 2, right? In order for there to be a trans woman and a non-binary person. And if you assume that, you're a stupid idiot who doesn't understand conservative politics. That number is based off of one person. One singular person. That is how he got that per million statistic. One single human being. But it gets worse. Because the one singular non-binary person, by the way, not a trans woman, that he based that off of is the fucking fake trans shooter from Club Q. The one person that he is getting this population statistic from is the guy who shot up an LGBT nightclub and then cynically pretended to be non-binary afterwards.
Dude, tell me that doesn't make sense, though, guys. Come on, for right-wing statistics, tell me that doesn't make sense. Because when they get shit wrong, they don't just get shit wrong, kind of. Like, you don't, like, look at some of the shit that comes out from right-wing conservatives and MAGA Republicans and go, like, well, I mean, they kind of had, like, the right idea. No, like, when they are wrong, that shit is so fucking wrong. Like, this is, like, beyond wrong. This is just fucking made up. This is, like, just completely fucking false.
If you were wondering why Matt Walsh didn't share his source for this claim, or why Jesse Waters never gave his source for this claim, it's because it's fucking insane. It's coming from a sample size of 32 total shootings, of which 2 of them were committed by trans people. Sorry, 1 of them, because as we've established, 1 of them is fake. So he is basing all of this information off of 1 trans guy and 0 trans women and 0 non-binary people. This is what passes for conservative journalism. Just to remind you, my original video covered some of the actual statistics on this subject coming from the Secret Service, from the Gun Violence Archive, from, I believe, the Violence Project. This is unscripted if you couldn't tell. And the lowest sample size that I used was a little under 200. So conservatives are basing their stupid worldview off of 1 single Twitter user who used a sample size of 32, ignored tons of other instances of mass violence, who used a cisgender person in place of a non-binary person in order to get his numbers. And I'm expected to take this some semblance of seriously. Like, I legitimately felt
even if it was 2, it still wouldn't matter. That's how fucking insane this is. These people are literally making up shit to make themselves angry. And if you want to know why they're doing that, I can tell you. Because I'm a person that's had a problem with my temper my whole fucking life. When you are angry, you feel righteous. When you are angry, you feel like there is nothing in this world that can stop you. When you're angry, you don't care about facts or information. You're just angry. And like I said, I know that because I have a real fucking problem with my temper. And when you're up that high emotionally, to come back down off of that is really, really hard. In fact, it's depressing. You have to deal with the things you said, the way you acted, the people that you potentially hurt, Like those things really all like come crashing down. Anybody that's ever been in a fist fight, like a real fucking fight, can tell you that like when your adrenaline's up and you're fighting, it feels great. But even like professional fighters, when the fight is over, even when they win, they go home and they feel this like depressing crash, anxiety, panic attacks. And the reason that is because your nervous system is overstimulated from the anger, from the adrenaline, from the fight. And so it's inevitable that when you come back down, it's really, really fucking hard to deal with. And what MAGA Republicans have done is they have been gaslit into this angry state. And if they ever come back down from being this fucking angry, they are going to go into a massive sense of collective depression and anxiety, and they're going to have to think about all the people that they hurt, and they're going to have to think about all the things that they did. And I don't think that they ever can allow themselves not to be angry. So at this point right now, what they are doing is they are creating a reality that allows them to stay angry as often as possible so they never ever have to feel that come down.
Kind of awkward and bad using like 178, I think it was, sample size survey in my original video, because that's just such a small number. It's so hard to glean anything from that. And here,
Mitchell.
it turns out I didn't have to worry. But rest assured, Frank has responded to criticism on this front, and I think what he has to say is very interesting. So let me give you one example. This is what he says. You can take issue that the data set is small, 32 mass shootings and 2 trans shooters, really 1. But this is the game many have been playing when taking 82 white male mass shooters since 1982 and using that to lecture us about how dangerous white men are. You can't have it both ways.
By the way, 82. So 82 is 43 years ago. That's an average of just under 2 white male shooters per year. Let me ask you. If there were 2 transgender shooters every year for the last 43 years, what do you think MAGA would be saying right now? This is 2 transgender shooters in 43 years. What do you think they would be saying if there were 2 per year? Trans people wouldn't have any rights. They wouldn't. But white men, I own guns. We can still own guns. That's fucking crazy. You're literally making the argument, if you are on the conservative side of this argument, you are making the argument that white men are 42 times, it is 42 times more necessary to take guns from white men than transgender people. You are literally making an argument to have your own guns taken away from you. That's how fucking stupid this is.
So just to be clear, this guy's best defense of his shitty work is admitting that it was stupid and ridiculous, and then just saying, well, other people did something stupid and ridiculous, so I can lie as much as I want. In case you're wondering, the statistics on white male mass shooters, some of which we covered in the original video, are actually concerning and go a little bit deeper than just saying, oh, there were 82 since 1982. So yeah, this guy is a joke. Anyone spreading this graph is a joke and deserves to be made fun of endlessly. And I am so sorry that I didn't catch this before. I mean,
And to be honest, this individual does not have to be sorry. They don't have to be sorry, because intuitively they were correct, and then they did the work and went and found the information and then came back and said, I made a mistake. Here you guys go. And that is 1,000% more than any conservative will ever do when it comes to giving information to the people that follow them. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell, and check out that video on the screen now.